We all know Shakespeare, right? Comedies, histories, but today we're diving into one of his most intense and politically charged tragedies, Coriolanus. And let me tell you, this thing feels less like a 400-year-old play and a lot more like a modern political thriller.
I mean, can you imagine this? A hero, a decorated war hero, so proud, so stubborn, that when his own city exiles him, he just turns right back at them and says, "No, I banish you." That's the kind of intense, upside-down story we're getting into today.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into the background of the play itself. Then, we'll explore the world it's set in, a city totally divided. After that, we'll meet all the key players pulling the strings. And then we'll follow the story of our main guy from hero to, well, you'll see. It's a wild ride from there.
All right, let's get into it. First up, let's set the stage for the play itself.
Okay, so William Shakespeare writes this play somewhere around 1608. But here's the thing, he didn't just make it all up. Nope. He was actually digging into real history, basing the story on the life of a Roman general he read about in a book called Plutarch's Lives. And he sets the whole drama way back in the early Roman Republic, a time and place that was just a perfect storm of political chaos and social tension.
All right, now for the setting. And this is where things get really interesting. Shakespeare doesn't just give us a story about one guy. He drops us right into a city that's basically a powder keg ready to blow. See, the entire city of Rome is split right down the middle. You've got two groups at each other's throats. On one side, the patricians. Think of them as the 1%, the wealthy elite who control everything. And on the other side, the plebeians, the common people. And they're not just unhappy, they are literally starving and furious at the people in power. This isn't just some background detail, by the way. This conflict is the engine that drives the entire story. And this setup, it's genius. It's like a perfect laboratory for Shakespeare to explore some really big, timeless ideas. You know, things like what happens when your personal pride clashes with your duty to the public? What's the real nature of power? And how easily can things like patriotism and loyalty be twisted and manipulated? All of that is packed in here. Okay, so we've got the setting. Now let's meet the people who live in it. These are the characters who really set this whole thing on fire.
First up, our tragic hero, Caius Marcius. You'll know him as Coriolanus soon enough. This guy is a military machine, an absolute legend on the battlefield. But, and this is a big but, his greatest strength is also his fatal flaw. It's his pride. This unbending, almost arrogant pride that makes him completely despise the common people. And that's going to be a huge problem.
Now, he's not alone, of course. He's got a whole circle of people around him. First, there's his mom, Volumnia. She's the one who basically forged him into this warrior. For her, it's all about ambition and honor. Then you've got his wife, Virgilia, who's the complete opposite. She's all about peace and home. And finally, there's Menenius. He's this witty senator, a family friend, who's always running around trying to do damage control for Coriolanus' terrible temper.
And then you've got his enemies. On the political front, we have the tribunes, Sicinius, and Brutus. These guys are supposedly the representatives of the people, but really they're just master manipulators who see Coriolanus as a massive threat to their own power. And on the battlefield, he has an arch-rival, Tullus Aufidius. He's the leader of the enemy army, and he's every bit as skilled and proud as Coriolanus. They're like two sides of the same coin.
All right, so the stage is set. We have a city on the edge and a cast of characters ready to collide. Let's see how this all plays out.
The play kicks off, and Marcius is at the top of his game. I mean, he's a rock star. He leads the Roman army against their sworn enemies, the Volscians. And in this incredible display of bravery, he basically conquers their capital city, Corioli, all by himself. It's amazing. And for this, Rome gives him a new honorary name, Coriolanus. Right now, he is the biggest hero in the city. But then, he tries to switch from soldier to politician, and it is a total, complete disaster. He gets nominated for consul, which is like the highest office in Rome. The only catch? He has to go out and ask the common folk for their votes, a tradition he finds absolutely humiliating. His disgust for the people is so obvious, and those scheming tribunes I mentioned, they use it. They whip the crowd into a frenzy, get him declared a traitor, and just like that, he's banished, exiled from the very city he just saved. So now he's an outcast. Disgraced, rejected. You can just imagine the rage. And it's at this low point that Coriolanus makes a choice that is going to shake the city of Rome to its very foundations.
Fueled by pure bitterness, he does the unthinkable. He walks right into the capital city of his enemies. He finds his old rival, Aufidius, and makes him a jaw-dropping offer. Let me lead your army, and together we will burn Rome to the ground. And with Coriolanus leading them, the Volscian army is unstoppable. His military genius is just on another level. They completely crush the Roman defenses and march right up to the gates of the city. Rome is totally defenseless. And the irony is just staggering. The fate of the entire city now rests in the hands of the one man they threw out. So the leaders of Rome start getting desperate. They send politicians to plead with him. They even send his old friend Menenius. But Coriolanus is like a wall of ice. He turns them all away. His mind is made up. Revenge. So that's the big question, right? If an army can't stop him and his friends can't stop him, who's left? Well, the answer doesn't come from a soldier or a senator. It comes from the only people on Earth who still have any hold on him, his family. And what follows is just one of the most powerful, intense scenes in all of Shakespeare. His mother, Volumnia, along with his wife and son, come to his camp. And she doesn't talk to him about his duty to Rome. No, she talks to him about his duty as a son, a husband, a father. She basically forces him to choose your revenge or us. And he cracks. He just breaks down. The iron wall crumbles. He agrees to make peace. He saves Rome. But he absolutely knows in that moment that by giving his mother what she wants, he has just signed his own death warrant. And this is the core of the tragedy, right? He was caught in an impossible position because when he goes back to the Volscian camp, his old rival Aufidius pounces. He accuses Coriolanus of being a traitor to them, his new allies. And in the chaos that follows, a group of conspirators just kill him. The one moment of mercy he shows gets him killed. So where does that leave us? Well, Rome is saved, but its greatest soldier is dead. What we're left with is this really powerful, devastating look at what happens when pride is so inflexible it can't bend. It just breaks. And it leaves you wondering, who is the hero? Who is the traitor? The lines are just completely, tragically blurred. And that's the question the play really leaves you with. And man, it's just as relevant now as it was 400 years ago. Can a person's duty to themselves, to their own honor, their own integrity, ever outweigh their duty to their country, to their people? Coriolanus couldn't figure it out. And it makes you wonder, can any of us?